So I'm here with Bret Blackburn, the CEO of VR Tactical Gear. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hey, how's it going? T, it's good to see you. Thank you for the invite, my man. I appreciate it. Super appreciate it. I'm basically the guy behind VR Tactical Gear. I came up with the creation years ago. Finally got it launched. The whole vision of it, getting it launched, getting it on the market, and what you see currently is basically a one-man show, except for my investor, because I couldn't come up with all the money. I didn't have it just laying around in the cushions of my couch
Mark,
Right. I looked in the cup holders of my car too. I just couldn't quite get it all,
just walking around looking for pennies everywhere. Just couldn't find them.
So yeah, that's it. I'm in California, US, West Coast. Pretty standard stuff. Just another guy with another idea, trying to make some, not waves, but just trying to get in on the VR action because I love it so much. I love it. I mean, obviously that's why we're all here, right?
Exactly. Love it's definitely why we're here.
Yeah.
So you say you're a fan of the VR action. How did you first get into VR?
So obviously I'm been a gamer my whole life. Like I was around for the birth of Atari, the very first one. We even had.
Now he's showing his age.
I know, right? We had the Pong console, dude. It was. You know what I'm talking about? Pong. It's all beep,
yeah.
We
Sadly
had.
So.
It was a console, dude. It was huge. It was like this big with gigantic, paddles. So I've always been a gamer, never stopped, through it all. And then when I saw VR, in 2018 is when I got my first headset. But back then there was no return policies on that stuff. There was zero.
Yeah.
It was like, you bought it, that's it. And it
suffer
was
the consequences if you don't like it, kind of thing,
right,
wasn't it?
Right.
Yeah, it's so really risky.
Right. It didn't have, it was obviously their reasoning was, oh, hey, hygiene. You put it on your face, can't send it back. Get it, totally understand. And I remember I bounced around back and forth, and there wasn't really the whole, VR arcades back then. It's not like I had friends that had one that I could try. I literally just jumped in blind and fell in love like immediately, like right away. So I'm like, oh, that's it. I had the OG Vive, the very first one with the.
That seems to be like a lot of people's first headset. You jumped straight into PC VR, didn't you? First, more so.
Yes. Yeah. I just didn't. I don't even think standalone headsets were even around.
No, I think standalone got big with like the Quest 2, isn't it? That was when it started really blowing up. Did you have the Oculus Go as well?
What's that?
You had the Oculus Go as well.
Yeah, the first Oculus was a standalone, I remember. And then right after that came out, Mark Zuckerberg was all, oh, look at this. This is a possibility.
This sounds like a good idea. Let's get something like that.
Yeah. Hey, I give big shout outs to that guy. Love him or hate him. Without him, the VR needle wouldn't be near where it's at without that guy.
It wouldn't be as big. I mean, let's be honest, with the way the Quest has blown up, especially like the holiday seasons, that thing always sells like hotcakes. And yeah, it's true. You can dislike the person, but he knows business. He clearly does. And he knows what to do to kind of make something,
absolutely.
Something that everybody wants. And I mean, he's got the marketing tools already with Facebook. He can just whack all the adverts on there himself. He doesn't have to pay anything. He's sorted.
Dude, he could be into like something totally different. He could have been into like, oh, I'm a water polo guy, and we would have just tons of water polo accessories out there, right? And VR wouldn't. But right, I mean, think about it.
Could have done anything, absolutely anything. Yeah, right. Exactly.
Fortunately, he's a big nerd like the rest of us. So
yeah, and I've got to admit, like, one thing I do, like, and I'm neither here nor there with him. Yeah, I get some of the things he does a bit like, but whenever you hear him talk about his products, you hear that passion about the actual medium 100%. Itself. And I mean, some people may be like, oh, he's just a good actor. That may be the case too, but he's tricking people, so it's enough to make us all be interested.
I will tell you this: my experience when trying to get funding for my product. It's not at the level of what, Mark's doing, but everybody that I approached or tried to get involved, anybody that was already in money or already in it, they didn't want anything to do with it. They were like, what? Right. So obviously, because they didn't understand it. I had a bunch of real estate guys, trying to like I'm not putting my money into this, and I don't blame them, but it just shows that Mark is passionate about virtual reality.
He knows
because he would be like, like I said, he could have been, if he was in real estate, we'd have a ton of warehouse. He'd own property. I mean, I'm sure he already does, but he chose to dump money into it. So, it's just, as gamers, I think we really got lucky with that.
Yeah, I think so, definitely. I mean, a lot of people say about the PC scene getting a bit quiet, and they blame the Quest for that. But at the same point, I feel like we should be happy that devs are still making games for a VR system that eventually comes over to anything else as well. So,
yeah, I mean,
we've got you've got to kind of like.
Right. We've got more people in it, right? What do you want? Do you want, you want exclusivity? Like, oh, I got the best of the best and the best experience. But when you've only got 3 friends to play with because nobody else is on, right?
Yeah.
It's, the more the merrier, it's the console war thing, that stems even back from.
It's laughable.
It's ridiculous. It's like we're all gamers, man. I think I even said that in my video, like my my behind the scene video. It's like we're all just gamers. Let's just game.
And I think that's what intrigued me actually when I first started speaking to you as well, was your humble approach to just how you've made this product. And I mean, we'll jump onto like going into how you made the product itself the first time, but your humble approach to just how business is done and how you want your actual company to be perceived. It was incredibly humble. It wasn't like, this is the best thing, you need to buy this, because if you don't, you're going to be rubbish. It was like Joe, if you don't like it, you don't like it. If you don't want this one, there's others out there. You was so happy to just be like, this is my product and this is what works for me, and it may work for you too. And I think that's the best way of doing it, other than like, because you get companies that come out and they'll be like, this is the best version of anything. I've seen it already, and it's pointless.
It's rough because, again, much like entertainment is subjective to the user, right?
Exactly.
Hey, I mean, we had the Super Bowl here in the States, and a lot of people are bagging on the halftime show, and it's like, hey man, if you weren't into that music, you're not going to like it. I mean,
no, exactly. Not my type of music, but I can admit it was a good show.
Right. So that's why I even put that out, because we've all seen those, the best game, the best stock, the best this, the best. It's like nothing is the best. There's nothing. No. You could say it all day long, but my mom says it. You have the best VR stock. Like, thanks, mom. You're not
just
buying.
Just playing with the VR stock. This thing's amazing.
Yeah. I'm like, of course you have to say this. Like, I'm your son, right? Like, of course you have to say it.
I mean, she doesn't have to, but it's nice that she is.
True. She's supportive though, so she does say it. But so that's the whole thing with it, right? Like, it's subjective. So and I've talked about it with other people. I don't think there is even a single gun stock on the market, period, that can do all of it. There's just not one that can encompass all of the different factors that go into a gun stock. Some do some things great, and then with that comes with the negative, like, oh, well, that limits you here. Well, okay, so if I do this there, then it limits you here. So, I mean, it's just, figuring out what you like, what you want out of your gaming experience. Like, oh, I want to be able to do this, then you can do it. The other hurdle with that, with launching my gun stock too, is I know that once you like what you like, getting someone to change is it's rough, right?
Yes.
They're not going to, if they're used to it, they're not going to try, like, nope, I got my thing. I got my jam. I'm sticking with it. And I can totally appreciate that.
Exactly. There's no reason to change if you like.
Right. I mean, it's why, offer a warranty. We have a return policy on our product. It's like, hey man, you want to try it? Just to, like, it's different. You want to try it? Try it. There's no. Yeah,
I did notice there's a return policy, which is great to see, because a lot of products these days, it's like, you buy it, you keep it, kind of thing.
It's weird.
Not every, but some of them, like some of the other ones out there, you can find that there is, reputable companies, I suppose. That's when you've hit a reputable companies, because they're like, okay, we're happy with our product. If you don't like it, then we'll still take it back.
Yeah, and the warranty,
they know you're going to like it,
right? And I'm noticing too, some companies, they don't offer warranties, which is, I can understand it, because a lot of the companies, they do a lot of 3D printed products, and those 3D printed obviously is prone to, there's breaking and stuff like that. I've already read,
it happens.
And so they don't offer a warranty because it breaks. right? I literally was on TikTok Shop looking around because you know I know I need to start one though. You know, I have to start
gross.
one.
Yeah, probably do some numbers.
Right. And no warranty on there. It's like, oh my goodness, no warranty. Like, you know, that's rough. Where I think we do it. I think it's 2 year. I got to look. I need to make this. In fact, now that we're talking about it, I got to make it more prevalent on the website that there is a warranty on the return policy. It's
Put
in there.
A little gold sticker somewhere. Somebody will spot it. Right? Yeah.
It's like a side quest to find it.
Just comes up when you first load the screen. By the way, we offer warranty.
Right. I think I am the checkout page. I gotta look into that. That's been like of all the things I need to do. So anyway.
Right. Let's move on. What's your favorite VR game you've ever played? Or at least the favorite one you're playing right now?
Ooh, so right now I'm heavily into Breachers, loving that game.
That I know because we jump into it together every now and then.
Right, exactly. Right. I'm really I love that game. There is one aspect I wish they would do different, but it's totally cool. I don't know why. You know, they don't do the with the reload, they don't have the charge mechanic.
Yeah. I thought they just did that for accessibility, just to make it a little bit more user-friendly. So, it's semi-manual, isn't it? It's not everything because
it's not right.
Yeah, like when I play VR with my partner, and she's played Breaches, and I think she appreciates that side of it. But when I play like say Contracts or anything, and she's got to do all of it for all the different guns. It can be quite a headache for new users just to kind of go, where am I charging this gun? How am I reloading?
Right. If you don't know all the weapons, right, you have to. Right. It makes it easy to like, hey, all you got to do is put the mag in. So totally understand. You know, Contractors is another big one. The OG Contractors, because
I prefer the OG.
I love that game. I think they have some of the best. They really got the best mechanics. You know, their weapon level calibration in that
so
one.
Good. It's so good.
Yeah, it's really good.
I mean, even in terms of like on standalone headsets as well, just how good it looks is still just mind blowing to me that they're able to do that. Like more so the original Contractors, because when you play Showdown and Exfil Zone, that's a bigger area. You're going to notice more things being a bit more shoddy in places. Not that it looks bad at any time. It's just more of, you know, certain things haven't got that better texture in that other places have. But either way, still a great game to, you know.
Pavlov is good too. I've enjoyed of all of them. Pavlov is up there. Contractors, obviously. You know, Breachers now is coming in. It's just
Pavlov, for me, is good with a group of friends.
Yes.
Like, it's not one I would ever play solo, whereas Contractors and Breachers I can play solo. Pavlov, I need a group of friends to jump into that.
I've jumped in. So that's for me. That's what it's all. That's why I'm playing Breachers so much, is because I got introduced to a group of people, not guys, but people that play that.
It was the same one you brought me along to.
Yeah. So it's just much more enjoyable when you're playing with people that you
100%
can get along with and aren't toxic or, you know, grievers or whatever, you know. And so that Friday night gig is just, you know, I'm very happy that I got into that as well. Like that's super fun. Now they jump into other games too, which, you know, I haven't been able to have a lot of time to do all of it just because with everything else that's going on. But yeah, I mean, obviously just the regular single player games, like obviously Half-Life Alyx is, you know, everybody says it because it's such a great game.
Yeah, it's a great game.
But there's so many gems out there. There's so many gems 100%. Out there that are really.
If everyone just played Half-Life Alyx and nothing else, and they are missing so many good games. So many good games that are even inspired by Half-Life Alyx. I mean, sure, it's still fantastic to this day, but there's still games out there that I would much rather play. And I'm also very big on saying that the mods on Half-Life Alyx to me probably hit some more than the actual game itself. Like, I mean, the Bioshock mod, Gunman Contracts, both of them being things that I've actually jumped in playing more than the actual campaign of Half-Life Alyx.
Yeah. No, I feel it. And same thing with Contractors though too. Their mods, like the Star Wars mod, the Titanfall mod, like, oh my goodness, like it's so.
I don't think I've ever played a normal Contractors map other than when I first bought the game and didn't know about the mods, and then ever since the mods have been there.
The Star Wars mod is so good. It's just
Call of Duty maps. Playing a Call of Duty map first time in VR was like, that was
it's good
something special. I tell you.
I mean, and being fortunate enough to have a high-end PC to run that on, like I get.
Yeah, you do have a bit of a beast. Did you end up getting the 5090 in the end?
No, dude, can't find them. You cannot find them. I literally was up.
I remember you saying to me,
on
like,
launch, bro.
I'm gonna get 2 of them for both my PCs.
Refresh. And dude, it literally went from before. I think it came out at like 6 a.m. My time. So I'm like at 5:55. Okay, everything says currently unavailable, right? So I'm just hitting refresh. Soon as that tick, I'm hitting it. And I had like 4 pages up, right? Of like Best Buy, Newegg, just all these different sites. The actual NVIDIA site. I think I even had Amazon up just because, you never know. And all of them, they all said currently unavailable to out of stock or sold out. Just immediately. There wasn't
insane.
I didn't see any moment in time where it said, okay,
available to buy.
One's ready. Then you go to click. Somebody beat you to it, right? It was literally currently unavailable, sold out. Like I was like,
well, at least you still got the 4090 to get you by.
Yeah.
You're not missing out too much, mate. Believe me.
I know. That's what I keep hearing.
Some people out there still rocking the 3080s.
I got it. I know. I'm crying. Oh, my 4090. Oh, it's crashed.
You just wanted it because you was like, I need it. Like it was definitely
you know what, dude, my not to get too off topic but my whole thing on PC for me is, yes, my rig is more than capable of running these games really good, right? But I'm just like that kid. I just want it.
Yeah.
I just want it.
I will agree what I'm saying? PC building or anything to do with upgrading your PC is the most addictive thing ever. It's the worst. If you've got something in your PC that can be upgraded, you go, "Oh, I've got a little bit of money. I could upgrade that." Yeah. But you have no reason to do so other than the fact that you just want to. Like I upgraded my RAM. I think I only had 16 at the time, so I wanted to go 32, but I was like, I'll just get 64 because why not?
Why not? Because you in your head you've got that room, right? You could, it's like, you only need 32, but I got 64, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's PCs. If you've got expendable income in any shape or form, and I'm not saying I've got expendable income. I mean, like I don't think anyone's got the X amount of expendable income in the world. But like if you've got like a little bit of money laying around every now and then, PC building or PC upgrades are the worst thing for you. Just stick to a console, just simply because otherwise you will eat a hole in your pocket. Yeah,
I know. I suffer from it. Hi, I'm Bret Blackburn. Hi, Bret. Going to the AA meeting for computer.
I tried to buy a video on release. I missed it.
Yep. I'm gonna. You know what? I've already accepted defeat in that department. If I run across one, I'll pick it up. If not, I'm just gonna wait for the next gen. Basically,
might as well. Yeah. Now you just buy the 5090 when they come back in stock. Anyways, getting back on topic.
Yes.
How did the idea of the Armory-R1 start, and what were the prototypes like?
I should have pulled out the very first one.
So I have it somewhere.
I didn't even think about that. Okay, so like,
send me a picture. What I'll do is I'll put it up on this.
I'll send it. Yeah,
and I'll be like, this is the prototype. God,
it's Home Depot all day. I don't know if you guys what you guys have over there.
I mean, we have like stores like that, but we don't have a.
But you know what? Right? Okay.
B&Q for any of the UK people here.
Okay. So 2018, when I got my first headset, right, and I immediately, obviously, as a fan of shooters, I immediately jumped into the first shooter, that I could get my hands on, and I can't even remember what the name of it was. It was some rando, it was cool, but obviously the first time I went to shoot, I'm like, oh, and then the gun I know there's people out there that can do it without it. Like you guys are cracked. You guys are great.
I mean, that's pretty much all I use most of the time until I started using the Armory-R1. So, and I mean, as people can see, I have got stocks behind me. These ones do not fit in a drawer, but these ones do not get used that are behind me over there. They're just there now because I've got nowhere else to put them.
But, you make some kind of an homage or some kind of a statue out of it, the evolution of your. I
mean, I don't want to sound mean, but that's not worth me drilling the holes in the wall.
Oh my lord!
So I'd rather not. I mean, I could always hang one of the Armory-R1s on the wall if you want. But
dude, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna keep watching your channel, and if I ever see the Armory-R1 in that pile, something new comes out that takes the old bomb crew. Yeah, no.
Well, so, I mean, if anyone makes better, I'm more than happy to try them out. That's one of the things.
Course,
I mean, I've tried loads. It's just
competition is always good.
Everything.
Competition is always good. But I'm sorry. Back to
go back to it.
I know we could back to how it started. 2018. I'm trying to shoot it, and it wasn't working. And I just remember thinking to myself, "Hey, I'm like, man, I need something for stability. Right? Like I need something like to kind of keep my hands and steady because they were just kind of moving on and being brand new to VR, brand new to VR shooter. Like I was like, bad. So yeah. I came up with the idea of the Armory-R1, and it's still the original prototype is very, very similar to what you have. It's just a much cruder design because of the materials I had at that time. But after I made it, I was like, okay, there's got to be something on the internet. Obviously, there's got to be something on the market that is like this. And then when I looked, I think the first one I found was ProTube. ProTube, I think, was either the only thing or was one of the only things on the market back then. And when I realized what they were doing was much different than what I had come up with on my own.
Yeah, ProTube's been going forever.
Oh, okay, cool. Then the wheels started turning like, man, maybe this is something I could get to market. And it was rough because I didn't get funding for it for years, right? 2018 is when I came up with the idea. And I was just afraid someone else, I mean, if I thought of it, anybody else could think of it, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
it's not like, it's not like, I'm the, some genius of, design for whatever. It's like,
I've seen some of your drum rigs.
Right. Like he's a prodigy. Oh my God. So I was, and nobody really did. And thank God, because every time I'd see a new gun stock ad or somebody come, I created this gun stock. I'm like, oh, please, don't
let it be exactly the same as mine.
Right. Which is also why I never promoted it before I got funding. You won't find anything on the internet that predates of the gun stock of the Armory-R1. You won't see anything that predates it before I actually showed it off for the first time, because I knew, or I figured that someone else saw it that had the funds. They would just be like, that's a good idea. Beat you to it, and if they beat you to market, it's over. I mean, even with patents, right? Doesn't matter. Patents are great, but they're only as good as the money that you have to back them up. And there's also international, especially China. You think China cares? They do not care. They which is also why it's made in the US, because
that's where you're from.
Yeah, well, it's where I'm from. But, a lot of people ask, they're like, hey, dude, why don't you get it made in China? You can make it made in China cheaper.
Ship it across, get them to do it.
Which is true. But the problem is, and I have seen it, I have personally seen it, what they like to do, they'll make you 2 units, and then 1 unit goes out the back door that they can sell. It's your exact same. There was a gun stock.
I mean, it must be how the off-brand statues and things like that end up coming along when they're made. Yeah.
I can't remember what the name of the gun stock was. There was one. It was kind of a big one. It was for the HTC Vive wands. It was way back. I can't remember the name, but I remember somebody got a hold of a knockoff. It looked exactly the same. And then when they peeled off the sticker that they had on it, it literally was the other brand's brand underneath it. So, you know what I'm saying? Like,
whoa.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to go through all this work to try and make something, and so it costs me, it costs me more money to make it here, obviously, because
at least it's all in-house. You can check on it. I mean, you've done videos of you going to the actual warehouse, checking on the process and things like that. You've been very all on deck with this. You've not just sent off the actual things to be done and, just left it with it and then got it all back to you. You've kind of been going to their warehouse, annoying them. I think might be the best word for it.
Say the least. Say the least. Yeah.
I mean, even in the video, you was checking all the parts. You're not just kind of throwing this out of the box and expecting people to get this product at the hopes that they're going to like it without you making sure it's fine first.
Right.
I think that says a lot as well. So that's something I really respect there.
Doing everything I can to make sure that people are happy, and it seems to be pretty good. I did have a customer that reached out to me that they had a special need for one of their controllers. Like, hey man, I can't use it with this because of whatever they had going on. So I said, hey, what are you doing? I talked with him personally, and I designed a special controller adapter for him so he could use it on his gun stock. So he bought one.
Damn.
Well, because
customer service at its finest, right there.
I do all the prototyping and the engineering of it is done by me here. So I can push that kind of stuff out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's easy for me to go, okay, I can, take what we have, because I have all the CAD files. I use Fusion 360 and AutoCAD program to design everything. And then I've got my 3D printers out back that, to do all the prototyping. And then, so for certain cases where somebody has a special, like this guy had a special needs thing, it was like, and what's cool is I can save that. And if somebody else, I come across somebody else has the same thing, issue.
Exactly.
I got you. Like, we got it. So I just save it. So, it works out. And then obviously the manufacturing plant that actually produces the injection molded parts, they're local. They're like 15 minutes away. So I go down there. So it makes it easier. It makes it nice, convenient, straightforward.
Exactly. Plus, it means you can ship things faster than waiting for them to be shipped back to you and then shipped off, or shipped from somebody else, and then you don't know what kind of management is being done. Yeah. So, I mean, that's good as well.
Right now, it's packaged. It's all packaged with love by me personally. Right now, it's all.
Gives
I
each
put it in the box. I'm all.
Yeah.
Bye. Good luck. Make someone happy.
Please don't come back.
Yeah. Please don't come back. You're on your own.
That's what a lot of parents say to their kids when they leave. But anyways,
I know. I have had some parents. I've had some parents email. The greatest thing, dude. I've had some parents email me.
I think it was one in your Discord that was I think pretty cool, with the father and his son that play the quest together, and they were saying about the stock, and he tried other ones for his son. It was too cumbersome, and this one is just perfect for him. And I think that as well. It's one thing I've raised as well, is how lightweight this thing is. Like, I played through the whole of Alien Rogue Incursion with this thing, and when climbing ladders with it, doing the puzzle parts, never did it feel like I was holding a stock. I mean, obviously you got a little bit more weight on your right arm, but it's whatever arm you're using it with. Yeah. It's not enough to make you go, this is heavy. It's never heavy.
No.
And
so it works great, like Population 1, great. Perfect example, because you're flying, you're climbing constantly, right? And it weighs less than a pound, so the noticeable difference is it helps with that stuff. But I've had emails from parents who got it for their kids, and they email me and they're like, oh my God, my son loves it so much, or my kid loves it so much. And that makes me feel so good. It's so good to hear that feedback, because I had no idea how the gun stock was going to be received on the market. So
exactly. I mean, we spoke prior to its release. Obviously, I mean, I did the original review, and I've given you my thoughts. And I think there was only some little minor things, and that was mainly with the PSVR2 adapter, because obviously I concentrated more on that. But even then, you've went on board and taken that all in. You've started, working on fixing all that stuff, and lo and behold, it's all been done. So,
that's the whole thing too. Like, I will absolutely, like, I tell anybody that asks, like, they say, hey, I said, go on the Discord or email me or email us and give us your feedback, because, obviously we want to improve it to make it the best it is. And then depending on the success, any changes that come across or any additions, or people, I'd love this, hopefully, the Armory-R2, you know what I'm saying? Like, that could be, hopefully.
That's kind of ruined one of the other questions, but never mind. Let's move on. So obviously, I mean, you kind of touched on it a little bit there, but when you originally released this thing, was you nervous? Like, was it like major nerves just trying to get at? Because obviously the market is already competitive. I think last year I must have seen about 3 or 4 gun stocks just pop up out of nowhere that are now selling to people.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously, it's a competitive market, and I'm sure we'll probably see tons more come out this year as well. There's always somebody making something that's suited for them, and hopefully suited for somebody else. Similar story to yours. So I mean,
yeah, I wasn't as nervous until I started. I wasn't. So I always felt really confident in it. I didn't really know how saturated the market was until I started promoting mine. And then obviously the algorithm, for my Facebook posts, for my personal Facebook or my personal social medias, they're sending me ads for everybody else's. And I'm like, oh, Jesus. Like, I jumped in the pool thinking like, hey, I'm in here. What's up? Only to realize it's everybody can swim. And I'm like, oh, what's up? Oh, yes, it was nerve-wracking. I was very nervous because again, and I'm playing with my investors' money, right? Like they invested a lot of money into it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I just, before I only thought there was a few, ProTube, Mammut, I saw Wheeled VR kind of popping up, right? So I was, and then
it was one of the new ones that popped up last year, I believe.
I knew about the 3D printed models, but I wasn't too I'm like, okay, but again, I felt like everybody was kind of following that same ProTube path. I didn't see much variance in
exactly
magnets, right? I'm like, and I kept thinking to myself, like, okay, mine is not that. It's very different. It doesn't have the cup or the magnet. So that's where my standout is, right? And I'm going this way. Everyone's going this way. So, but then once I started getting the feedback from people, and I'm like, oh man, there's a lot of gun stocks out there. There's a lot. Like I started to go, oh, oh bleep, I'm
fine, you can swear.
Okay. It was really,
I'm pretty sure you already have anyway. So.
Probably. There were some oh shit moments. Like I had no idea there was so many, but a lot of them are very much so, people doing, hobbyists in their house, like the 3D printing obviously allows you to do these kinds of things. And I'm not saying that's bad. Like obviously, hey man, everybody's got their idea. It's awesome. The problem was for me the reason I needed to raise the money is because obviously the injection molding that of, it's just such an expensive process, blah, blah, blah.
And the quality's there when you do it though. That's the thing. Like I've got 3D printed ones and I've got your one that's an injection molding, and seeing the quality between a 3D printed stock and an injection molded stock is second to none. You're going to notice it instantly.
Well,
and
it's but that was part of the problem, right? I couldn't get feedback from people before I went full production because I was afraid that people, if I got random feedback from people, I get NDAs and all that stuff, but I was afraid it would get leaked, something would happen and somebody would beat me to market. So I'm like, all right, I got to trust my gut. And I did. And I don't regret it one bit. Like I said, the feedback I'm getting right now from people is good. I'm happy with it. It's getting noticed. But it's still, I'm still nervous, to be dead honest, because like we touched earlier, if you have a gun stock, you're probably going to stick with that gun stock, right? You're not going to make the switch. But I have had people that have messaged me and say, dude, this is the third or fourth gun stock I've owned. And, in your case, like, this is the one for me now.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Cool. Like, great.
Third gun stock. And this is the one I've used more than just as every now and then I'll give it a go to see what it's like again.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's not saying the other products are bad in any way. I mean,
right.
I think quality questions are there on some places, but I'm not diving into that now because that will take way too long. But in terms of like, I'm going to use this through the entirety of a game, like, never would have I done that with any of the other gun stocks I have. Never. First of all, one of them's too heavy, and the other one, no. So, like, for me, it's one of the things where it's like, to want to use a gun stock for the entirety of a game, I think it was like 6 hours or 8 hours it took me to complete Alien Rogue Incursion. That's a single player game. I'm not using this as a competitive thing, but I tell you what, using that plasma rifle with this gun stock made me feel like an absolute badass. It was awesome.
Dude, like, the immersion, right? It's immersion when you feel good. Like you're holding.
Good. Yeah.
Right. And I'm all about it too. Any game, single player, multiplayer, if it has a weapon that is a two-handed weapon, I will absolutely use a stock. The immersion for me is everything, because you feel that junk in your shoulder, it just,
that junk.
That's the thunk.
Okay, let's go with thunk.
You feel that, you feel that pressure in your shoulder. You feel that, it's immersion. That's why, and this is a topic, that's why I don't like tethered headsets. I have to do wireless. I like to like roll around and blah.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen your VR room, and
I know, right? Again, nerd, full nerd. I went full nerd on it.
Yeah, he went mad with this thing. When I say you can just imagine it's being like how you see VR arcades, it's similar to that, but on a smaller scale to fit just one person, not a party of 8.
Yeah,
it's incredible, and it's probably something I would love my room to be one day, but that would mean getting rid of everything else in here, and I don't think I can come part of some of my stuff.
We'll get you there, and I'll have to come over and do some interior
just do some building. So, I mean, with that in mind, what's the future for VR tactical gear? I know you just mentioned that obviously you want to try and do the Armory-R2 in the future if possible, depending on how this one goes.
Absolutely.
Is there any ideas you've got in your mind that you want to share now, or do you want to keep them close to your chest? Because obviously you don't want to...
It's interesting. One of my friends has my stock, and he's using it in a way I have never even imagined somebody using it.
He's using it with his feet.
Yeah, right. So he uses it. What he does is he uses the front end. He flips it up straight, right? So he uses a Quest. Any of the Quest controllers will do this. So what he does is he holds it straight. It's straight out. And instead of grabbing or resting on the foam, he will put the controller, because it's got the, you got the grip button. He'll rest the controller against the foam piece, so it acts as the grab. So when you put it catches and releases.
Mate,
just
that's some lining up skill you got to have for that every time.
The problem with that is, that front end needs to move over like about, I don't know, 3/4 to 1.25 inches over to keep it in line. So that's something I'm thinking about. Like that could be, I'm trying to think about a way that either that would have to be on its own total different design, because you're moving or I was thinking maybe I could make something that basically the controller, the two controllers kind of move over, the whole frame kind of moves over, but then your grip will come over to offset the offset of the front. So
trying to think of the words here, aren't you?
Yeah, but the way he does it is very cool, because it's natural, because you don't have to grab it. He rests it against the front of the stock,
the controller against it,
and it's pushing. The foam piece is pushing against the grip, which enables the grab, right? And that's kind of how you do it in real life. You just, and that's how he plays with it, and he swears by it. So I'm like, I'm gonna look into that. Like, that's
you're gonna try it for yourself and see if it works.
I've tried it, and it does work. It works amazingly well. It comes down to, because now that offhand controller it's moved over, like just the width of that foam piece, right? It's over like 1.5 inches. So that kind of teeters it off the edge in the game. So if I can make it so that it's still lined up, like I was thinking like maybe a way that the barrel could just slide over, like make an attachment so the barrel will slide over 1.5 inches or something, or flip or something. Like you could rotate it so it's either in line, or you flip it and it's offline, and then you could just do the resting it on the side. That's again. So
I mean, I'm sure with you, Bret, you'll think of so many ideas through the lifespan of the Armory-R1. I mean, I with how quick you've been with just fixing things, or coming up with different ideas, even for the adapter, like the PSVR 2 thing. After I spoke to you, that like the different ideas you started coming up with for that as well. Like, I feel like when it comes to I feel like when you make a new product, I think you'll know what you're going to do with it. I think you'll definitely.
So, like we said, man, all the stuff that you mention, or my buddy mentions, or anybody else mentions, like, hey, this or that, like that all goes right into in the idea bank and like
in the Blackburn bank.
Yeah, hopefully, I get to keep, hopefully it still stays sharp so I can apply those. I'm
getting on there, Armory-R1 where he's 75, like
right. Hey,
these machine parts.
He's on B. Get off my lawn! Virtual old man VR.
Someone to make that game now. You've said that. They'll be like, that's a great idea.
You just sit on your porch and yell at kids as they come driving on your lawn.
You've got I am cat, I am security, I am old man is coming next now. You literally just have to shout at people off your lawn. It's voice recognized. It's happening.
That's exactly it. That's exactly
New
it.
folder games are watching this right now. That's a great idea.
Yeah, very much so.
In all seriousness, their games are actually pretty cool. That was not a joke in the part of the saying.
We better trademark that right now.
Yeah.
We better trademark that right now.
But no, I mean, going on that quickly, before anyone thinks I'm taking digs at them, new folder games know what to do to market a game. Like, they are great at what they're doing, I tell you.
Yep,
may not be for everyone, but they know what they're doing.
Yep.
Anyways, all right. So, what is your favorite game you've used with the Armory-R1?
Oh, God. I am so bad at these questions because I get flavor of the month vibes bad. Like,
I mean, I've already told you I'm going to say my favorite one on Quest for me has been Tactical Assault. It feels great on that game. Like, having this physical thing in front of you while you're messing around with your vest as well. Yeah, feels cool. Feels really cool. So, I mean, that's not saying it doesn't work on any other game, but like for me, I've had some really cool moments with that. Like, especially with the canted sight as well, having to be able to tilt the stock.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, there is an attachment in the developmental cycle for canted sight ease of use with the Armory-R1 that is being drawn up. Just so you
interesting.
I saw an actual. What happened was somebody emailed me an actual weapon that had it on it, and I was like, "Oh, that is cool," and you could absolutely apply it. Is it overkill? Probably, but is it cool?
I'm gonna try it anyway.
It's cool. It's cool. I guess if you're playing like Onward, like the ultimate mill sim, like it might be very 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 useful. But we'll see. We'll see. If I could do it, and I don't like. And I can make it an option and it's not like killing me to do, I'm going to do it. Like, if someone's like, hey man, I want a toaster on this thing cause I want to eat Pop-Tarts while I play, man, if I could do it, right?
No, you won't do it. Cause then that'll mean you're tethered. You'll be tethered if you do that. Yeah. You're tethered. Battery powered toaster.
It's got to be it's a wireless toster, bro. Come on, man. We have the technology. We can build it.
Do we have wireless toasters already? We're British.
I don't know, man.
I don't make toasters. I make gun stocks.
It takes a little rod of plutonium. It's a nuclear powered toaster.
So the idea is just working in his brain.
Right. You've got a mini nuclear sub on your toaster on the side of your Armory-R1.
So you don't have any favorite games that you've used then?
You know what?
It's more
honestly,
just
I've gone through my phases because when I first started playing, I was playing Pavlov like all the time. There was a game called Standout. Have you ever heard of that?
No, but I only heard of it because you mentioned it.
Yeah, it was one of the very first Battle Royale games.
Yeah.
Yep. I used it a lot in that. Then Pavlov, and then Contractors came, and then I used it, in that all the time.
So you just used it on every game you've played that has guns in it, which is probably the best thing for you to do when actually developing this thing. So none of them have stood out because all of them have kind of worked well.
They're all great. They've all got their. They're all really good. I mean, to me,
Yeah. Odd question then. Sorry. Obviously with that in mind though, I mean, with the Armory-R1 being, used in various games and you having to test them, I know you said you haven't got a favourite, but do you find the actual stock itself works better if the games have settings for offsetting? Do you think that works better for stocks in general?
Yeah, I think it works better for stocks in general. There are games out there that, that don't implement weapon leveling, and then the community cries for it because it is such a big thing. Now there are games out there though that I mean, I know I've been saying breachers, and probably the reason
people know I love breachers, so you can mention breachers as much as you want. It's one of the best FPS.
Because man, the gun stock, I didn't have to enable anything. The guns just lined up so good. I was like, wow, this like I didn't have to touch anything, right? There was no adjustment. Now,
same for me.
Contractors is the same. I can absolutely use it without doing it, but I found like, man, if I can fine tune it and really lock it in, and their Contractors weapon leveling is amazing. You know what's weird? They don't implement it in like their exfil game. They don't have it.
No, it's like, really odd. It's like they've half-assed the settings on that one, haven't they? Kind of thing.
What is it in? I didn't look in Showdown. Is it in Showdowns?
To be fair, I'm not one that's ever offset my guns. The only time I wanted to do it was when I was trying Contractors, but the only thing, instead of offsetting my gun, I just lowered the actual buttstock. Because sometimes I find if you lower the buttstock, especially if you're a person with the Armory-R1, to use the chin rest, I find if you lower it or higher it more, that kind of helps you aiming through the sight a little bit.
That's
just
what
because it's raising your head a little bit as opposed to. So
to be fair,
that quite helps.
I don't rock the chin rest. I take it out. I don't use it. The only reason
is it even added then?
Because I figured people would want to use it. I'm not going to not offer it. You know, that'd be like fair, that'd be like me offering only a left-handed version because I'm left-handed, right? Like,
yeah, you are. Yeah.
So, but I did make it detachable, so that's why it's detachable because I don't.
Fair, that is one of the greatest things about this stock is one with the Quest Cup being ambidextrous, so you can just use it whatever controller you want. Brilliant idea there. And two, just being able to take off the actual adapter itself and switch them around if you wanted a left-handed or right-handed. The ease of accessibility for this stock is probably one of my favorite things. So great job there, mate.
Thanks, buddy. Honestly, the reason that probably is because since I am left-handed, I had to, you know how it is. Well, I do especially, but a lot of games when they first
do left-handed support,
they don't do left-handed, so it's always like, oh. And it comes around later, but so with me making this product, it's like, okay, I made it. It works great with left hand. I got to absolutely make sure it works for right-handed because right-handed far outweighs the left-handed, community. So that's how, certain things worked because, I knew like perfect example, the chin rest. When you want to swivel the chin rest, right? You can rotate it up or down. It used to swivel the other way to lock it in because it worked best left-handed. So I had to, when I went to production, I had to switch the rotation of the swivel because most people were right-handed. And I'm like, okay, if you're left-handed, you're going to have to do it on the outside instead of inside. But I do have a left-handed version I could 3D print if somebody wants it and send it in.
There you go. You heard it.
So, yeah. I need to add like there are certain left-handed options that were left out of the production because it didn't make because I would have had to make two of this. So I tried my very best to make anything on it was ambidextrous between left and right. And if it couldn't be done, I have the availability for left hand. But those are some of those right now are 3D printed. Unless it gets super popular, then I'll buy a mold to do it.
Just start selling it as such. I mean, with that, mate, I don't want to take any more of your time than you've already.
No, I'm good.
Me.
I appreciate it, man. I mean, obviously we ran with this one just all.
I think our idea is this should go for 10, 20 minutes, and we've just been batting it back and forth, which is great. It makes for better communication. It's definitely easier for people to watch when it's 100% genuine, not like wrap it up now. I didn't want to get outside and start telling you to. Yeah, I mean, I did think about that at first, and I was like, nah, let's just roll with it. But I mean, going forward. What's your takeaway from doing this? Like, what's your one thing that's kind of made you go, this is stuck with me from doing this process?
Honestly, man, I'm going to go as far as I can, as long as people are enjoying the product and want the product, right? Like it's funny because when I had to go through the interview process for investors, right? That was their biggest question, right? Was, okay, what's the end game? What's the end goal? Like, what's your 5-year plan? It's like, like what's your like a lot of them are like, okay, you'll sell, you'll do it for 5 years and then sell the company. It's like, I'm literally like, listen, I have made it a product and, I want to sell this product, and if it's successful, I'll make another one. I'll make the successor, right? Not right away, obviously, but when enough improvements come out, I will develop it and then push it out as the Armory-R2, right? As long as people are enjoying, it's kind of like the John Wick movies, right? With Keanu Reeves, he said,
"Keep him going as long as that's my fault. Just keep him going
until people don't want it, and then I'm out." And that's basically the same.
I think at this point, though, it's more so they're going to keep it going until Keanu Reeves goes, I can't do this anymore, guys. Physically, I cannot do this anymore.
Keanu Reeves is actually dead. Like the actor actually passes away.
Like, I mean, they'll be knocking on his in-laws. Like, can we get him back? Like, hey, he passed.
Yeah. So it's like I said, man. We've already covered it a couple times. Just keep the suggestions coming, man. Like I want to hear them. I'm not about criticism. Like, hey, man, you could think it's awful or terrible. It's like, it's fine. Like I take no offense to it. But obviously, making it better and making improvements, because, the one thing I really want to see, especially that will work well, I'm hoping happens with this gun stock, is we get games where hand tracking is good enough to where, let's say you're in a shooter, right? And so, but you still have to move. So you still have your main hand with the, you have your main hand with the thumbstick, right? But the hand tracking on the offhand is good enough that you can just literally grab it with your hand and the game recognizes.
That would work perfectly for this.
Right? Because it's a foam piece. So I'm hoping like future-proof kind of like that can happen. If somebody develops a VR game that works and works well in a shooter where you don't have to have an offhand controller, you literally are just grabbing and then your movement and that stuff, like you just grab the mag and pull it, or the basic button stuff. I'm right there. I'm
just message him so you can test it with the stock. Is what he's trying to say.
Here's your product. Here you go. Because that to me is the future. Like hand tracking is they're working on it. That's the next step where it gets good enough that it works well in these style of games. And if it does,
it would be awesome.
I'm right. I'm ready. I'm like I said, first in line. Beep beep beep. Hey, how you doing? So that's it in a nutshell, man. I can't. Dude. I won't say that. In a perfect world, if somebody came up and if Mark knocked on my, hello, Mr. Blackburn, I'm Mark Zuckerberg. I'd like to give you X for your company. I would be like, no,
how do I manage this?
Yeah. So, obviously I'm just, I'm not, who knows?
You're not saying you wouldn't, but it would have to be a higher number, I think is what you're getting at. There's
I'm just saying, like, obviously I think
every give me $15 for the whole company, mate. Right here, right now. Yeah.
So, I mean, that is as far-fetched as that's, that's, of course, but hey, you can dream the dream, dog. You can dream the dream, right?
I mean, even if you got like the made for meta thing, that would be awesome too. Could you imagine that? Oh, that'd be cool.
Dude, a lot of the, it would be nice. It would be nice to, not even a partnership, but they're like, hey man, your product is, quality enough. It fits our platform perfectly. Like maybe help like with some cross promotion, like, hey, we'll put this on our store page. Like, I mean, again, that's even far-fetched, but man, if that happened, oh my Lord.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Absolutely awesome.
That would be amazing. So
but we're going to stop it there because
we're going to wrap it up. Let's wrap it up.
We will go on about what these things you can do.
I could talk VR forever. Like,
that's the great thing. That's the great thing. I love it that you can talk about VR forever. But yeah, no, seriously, Brett, thank you so much for jumping on and doing this. I know I originally said, it's only a few questions, but to be fair, I think there's 6 questions in there, 7.
Right, but
we'll minus off the introduction, but there's a lot of things to go with it, and I appreciate you taking the time
man, I appreciate
just
you
sitting here doing this, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it, T.